This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope you're able to hear me clearly as well as you're able to see my screen. One of you, please confirm.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Hope all of you are in comfortable positions and also clear in your minds. So, as I told you, uh, this session, basically the last few sessions as we are learning Python, and in the future we'll be building those 4 projects. Ideally, if we spend this 1 hour time doing hands-on, it will be really useful. You can save your time and you can understand whatever you are doing very well. In case you don't have access to good infrastructure, maybe if you are kind of attending this session on a mobile phone, after I send the recording of the session, please try those code pieces on your own, which will help you. So this is our 8th session on our Foundations in Machine Learning course. Luckily, we are going uninterrupted so far. So just to recap what all we have done so far, we have spent some time, understood uh, the definitions and clear concepts of what is AI, ML, and DL. And without any confusion, we wanted to express the definitions of AI, ML, and DL. That's what we made an attempt. After that, we spent some time tried to understand all the machine learning terminology within the context of doing work. That's where we started talking about the data sets, and within the data sets we told about labeled data set, unlabeled data set, and then based on the data set with which we are working, we divided the machine learning tasks into broadly 2 categories, though there are 3, but we only talked about 2, that is supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So in the supervised learning, we will have a labeled data. So we have a target variable using which we will train a ML model and use the training or the learning of the machine to predict for unseen data. That's what we told. That's why the supervised learning, again, we talked about 2 categories of supervised learning based on the nature of that target variable. If it is a numerical, continuous numerical value that we are predicting, then we told it's a regression task. And if it is a categorical feature, it's not numeric, but it is a discrete categorical feature, then we told the task, we call it as classification. So that is what we told about supervised learning. And then in unsupervised learning, we don't have any labeled or any target variable is not there. So we told that task as clustering task. So all that we did, and then we also, very importantly, we talked about the biggest villain of machine learning, that is model complexity. We tried to understand the terminology around overfitting, underfitting, and the same concepts with respect to bias variance trade-off. So keep that in mind. Don't forget about all these things, because right now we have taken a detour and we are spending some time equipping ourselves to build models using the Python based technologies. So today we will continue with our exercise. We learned basics of Python, then we spent 2 sessions on understanding the 4 basic data structures of Python and the characteristics. So we talked about lists, we talked about tuples, we talked about sets, and we talked about dictionaries. We kind of did a little bit of hands-on with those things. So today the focus of this session is to whatever we learned, I want you to think and uh, write some code on your own. That is the goal, because if you exercise your minds, then you will understand whatever we talked in a little better way. So that is the goal of this particular session. So you are in the driver's seat in this session. And yesterday I sent you 4 text files, .txt files. Hope all of you have received it.
Yeah.
And ideally what you have to do is that you download and put into a folder, maybe name it conveniently. You can access that kind of folder you create and maybe name it as data sets or whatever that, because as in the future I'll keep sending more data sets to you, so that together we are working on the same data set while building projects. So hopefully you have already downloaded and saved them onto your one folder, because that is important. We'll read it and then we conduct this exercise. So basically the text files, 4 text files I sent, they are actually London is made up of 4 districts. Actually districts are called boroughs in UK. Okay, so there are 4 districts called Brent, Camden, Redbridge, and Satark. And we want to build as an exercise slowly for a period of time as we do the Python crash course in the next 5-6 lessons. We want to build a very small tourist information system. So each of those text files actually consists of some tourist locations in that district. Okay, that is the text file. It's a very simple text file, every location separated by a new line, and that's how we have done it. Some of them may have duplicate locations, some of them may not have, but then this is the information data using which we want to build a small recommendation system for our tourists. Again, don't expect we'll do big things. No, just I want to you be too excited. That's why I'm telling something. But now, hopefully, you have that. So let us kind of reflect on all the data structures that we have learned and try to at least build a mini database of all these locations and districts, so that we can build some logic on this data to build some useful IT. Okay, so we will start with our exercise on lists first. So first thing what we have to do is that I want us to read those text files and save them as lists. Okay, every time a data set will be there in your folder structure, or one customer has kind of sent through a mail, or you picked it from a URL or web resource, and that is how data either in an Excel or as a CSV file or text file it will be available. First thing we have to do is that we have to read that file and then convert into a proper format for us to continue with our data science activity. So typically in real projects, we don't really do using the basic data structures of lists and sets and all that, but the pandas, the library is there that will abstract a lot of things and it will help you to do that. But still, how in basic Python we should do, because we are learning, we are building this. So every programming language has a set of tricks and instructions to do file IO operations. So Python 2 has file IO operations. And as I told you, this course is not, in this course, we are not learning Python in a very detailed manner. So I'll skip. But one of the very useful file open in Python that only we'll use, we'll not teach how to, what is the file IO functionality of Python language. That is not our goal. That you can as well read. Actually, somebody else has asked me earlier where to find good resources. There is something called www.programiz.com. Let me put it that something called www. Usually I go and read because it is written in a very simple text, not much is there. So I always read. So for anything you want to know, you can always go to this www.programiz.com. Look at it. Okay. So anyway, what we will do is that one of the best way to open file in Python, let us use that. It is actually this with open. Okay, there is a open file, all that is there, but with open is a good simple thing in good ways. Actually, the good thing about with open file IO in Python is that anytime when you open a file and do something with that file, then you have to do a lot of extra work. You should remember to close it. In case the file doesn't open, okay, there is an exception takes place, then you have to write a lot of code to handle those exceptions. So lot of code has to be written to carefully organize this file openings to write, file openings to read. All that is a very complex thinking. Actually, basically, you should not forget anything. Otherwise, you can cause a lot of bad things in your code. And code can, when exceptions occur, something, it can hang also. So in order to avoid all that problems, this with open is a good file IO function. Using this, you don't need to bother about closing files. You don't need to bother about taking care of those exceptions. So with open actually takes care of that. So that is why we always use that. Okay, because again, we are not developing a complex web application, understanding whole of Python functionality. That is not our goal. Our goal is to quickly understand how to do data science work and thus build a machine learning model. So within that goal only we are learning. So any file IO, as far as data science is concerned, and you are using Python functionality, because even this also you will not use, you will use pandas to do that. It will make your life very easy. But think about with open. So how this with open works? With open, you have to give two arguments. The first argument is your file name. Okay, so again, wherever you have stored, let's say you have stored in, like for example, I have stored in D colon, then some my course, then my data sets, and in that my camden.txt is there. Okay, so this has to be in quotes. Okay, carefully look at the syntax, comma, and there are these arguments. So you can open the file with open the file to read whatever is there in that, or sometimes then you will use this R argument within quotes. Then if you are opening a file to write, then you will use W in quotes. Then if you are opening a file in binary mode and reading it, then you will use quotes RB. If you are writing into a file binary information, then you open it as quotes WB. Then many other options also are there, append, lot of those things. You can go and see that all the options of opening a file, but we will be using RW, RB, WB kind of things as far as we are concerned. So what we are really doing here is that first we are reading the file from a folder structure by its name, and we are assigning a variable name. Okay, so hence whatever file object has been read, because we are reading it, it is now having a variable name called f. Then you have to understand how Python uses. There is a colon, meaning actually this whole two lines are single line of code, but we are breaking it. So whenever we are breaking it, so next line of code is also part of the same line, to tell that we end it with a colon, but every colon should be followed by a next line, which is one tab space has to be there. If you don't have the tab space, Python will give error. Okay, so I want you to type this code carefully and tell me that you have been able to read these Brent.txt, Camden.txt, Redbridge.txt, Satark.txt from your folder structure. Okay, just do that and tell me when you are ready. I will also, where is my file? I see that. Ah, hope are you able to see?
We are able to execute, Madhu.
Okay, so this is how I stored. Hope you are able to see my screen, the Jupyter screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually I put it in my own folder wherever I'm teaching. All the resources I kept, I created a folder called datasets. In that so I'm reading them. So just carefully you have to type this instructions, because the two arguments are passed within the with open as strings. So quotes are needed separated by a comma. Then you have to, as f, f can be anything as file. Then after that you have to do file dot read. Okay, that is a variable name, but this is how typically people use it. So I have also used that. So I hear that you are able to execute. So we can go ahead. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. One minute. Okay. Hope you are able to see my PowerPoint screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, if you are there, meaning now actually the second line, what is the meaning of that? I am creating a variable Brent and reading the file f.read. On that I am applying another function called split lines. So basically the functionality of split lines, what it does is that it converts text input into a list. So now post successfully running this set of instructions, so you have 4 lists you have created out of your 4 text files. If you have given whatever name, like here Brent, Camden, Redbridge, Satar, there are 4 lists. So basically you converted all of those text files into a list kind of data structure. Now you can do whatever you can do with lists. You can do check of lengths, you can do index it and see which location where, from reverse order, from start to finish, all those things now we can do it. So now the exercise starts. Hope anybody stuck with this problem still?
Yeah, Madhu,
Can you,
I'm not able to do that.
who is that speaking now?
Joseph.
So what is happening?
I'm getting name is not defined. Name error it is giving.
So basically, maybe the exactly you have to give the file folder, the file name where the file is there, location. So what you can do is that wherever you have stored this, go right click, properties, and copy the location and paste it
That
here.
is what I have given the file path, but
Okay.
facing some issue.
Anyway, you can, but it will not be a big issue. There may be a simple typing issue only. See the single quotes where they have ended, those kind of things. You clearly look at it. Then when you are reading, f.read parenthesis, then dot split lines parenthesis. Carefully look at this and type it, or wherever typing errors you have done, you do it, it will read it. Okay.
Okay, Madhu.
Now, Madhu, if we have to put the file path completely like C:// all that, so we need to replace the backward slash with forward slashes.
See, actually here, whatever I am showing here, this I have done it in a previous my machine Mac. So now here, here right now I'm working on a Microsoft machine. I kept it here. So I put full path actually. Okay, I put it in my D drive.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
here Microsoft Windows uses this this kind of forward slashes. Okay, I put it like this. You
I
check
got
that.
it, Madhu.
Okay. Okay. So basically, you can read if you want to learn a little bit more of Python programming language, any programming language for that matter. Understanding this file IO functionality of the programming language is very useful, because whenever we write some complex program, we do a lot of things with inputting and outputting of files and all that. So learn that. But as I told you, keep in your mind this with open is a very high performing kind of way. And the second line, exactly what we are doing, we are just whatever file I am reading, I am reading it, and then whatever object it return, text file it will return. On that text file, I am applying a method or a function, split lines. It's a Python function. So that what it does, it converts the text separated by line, new lines and all that will be put into a data structure list. Okay, it has done that for all four. I have done it. Let's move on. So now you can check for your whatever variables you named now, lists, Brent, Camden, then Redbridge, Satark. Now, if you type check on them, they are lists. Okay, you can check that. Now, what the first exercise I want you to do is that I want you to see the first 5 locations in Camden. So now already you have Camden as a list. Only you see whichever capitalizations you have used, use that same thing. Otherwise, you will find some errors. So use the same variable names that you have used. I want you to get this output. Okay, like what is my first 5 locations within my list, Camden. So how will you do? So basically, we know it's a list. We can use
Slicing of
index.
1 to 5.
Yeah,
Number
start
6.
index to end index. So start index omit case, if you do it, then it will start from 0 and ends at 4. So basically we'll write like this, print. Okay, then I want to do for Brent, no, Camden, CAMDEN, say not caps, all small. Then this is my list. So I use an index operator. I leave my start index, put a colon, and end index 5. Then it will give me this value. Okay. So hope you have done this. So if all of us are having the same kind of data files, you will get the same output. So Camden, first 5 tourist places in Camden district are these. Hope you got it. Shall I move?
Yes.
Okay. So now I want you to get this output. I want each of these boroughs, how many tourist places are there in each of those boroughs. I want to know that. So how will you do it? What will you use? You do it, and I want you to get this output. So basically, we will print length of maybe Brent, whatever. Then similarly print length of Camden. So you can type that all 4. So we are using that length because anytime when we have a particular information, we want to check that how many tourist locations are there. Okay. So have you done that? Okay. So I'll wait for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are actually basically any new data when we are seeing, we want to understand the data ourselves. Okay, and that is what we really, in data science terminology, we call it as exploratory data analysis. Okay, means we are exploring through the data and trying to understand for ourselves what is this data, what is there, are there any problems we are understanding. So that in real projects we will do that exploratory data analysis using the pandas libraries, which are much more easier to use and which will help you to do much more complex analysis. But underlying only these things will be there. Okay, basic Python data structures. Just to impress upon that point only, we are doing that. So we have looked at first 5 locations, then we are looking at the length of that, and basically to check the data and its correctness, you have little bit of information about each district, and you at least know one very famous tourist place. You want to check whether this data is correct or not. So you are using your intuition to do that. So I want you to do that. You know already that this location, Newbury Park, okay, is actually in the district Redbridge. So I want to see whether this data is complete or not. I want to check whether Newbury Park, the same string I have to use. This is the location name, whether it is a member of Redbridge. So if it is not a member, it will be false. Otherwise, it is true. Okay. Similarly, I know for myself, Brent, the most important tourist place is Peckham. So I want to check whether Peckham is actually listed in the Brent district or not. So how do you do that? So again, you use that in function, in keyword, membership check will happen. So basically, print that string. We have to write the string correctly, because any caps problem, space problem, then it will tell true or false. So basically, this is how it is written there. So I'm using that string, new, N capital. There is a space between Newbury and Park. In actually my list, which list is that? Redbridge. Okay. Okay. Then based on this, if it is there, it will tell true. Otherwise, it will tell false. Okay. This also we learned. So just let's put it. Hope you have done this and you got the same result.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
go on. So that's good. We are going ahead well. So now let us go to the next one. I want you to for Satark. Okay, it has I don't know how many tourist places are there in Satark. Satark has 15. Okay, so in Satark, I want to know what is the min of Satark and max of Satark. Okay, only thing, they are not integers, they are not values, numbers, they are not numbers, they are descriptions of location places. But still, I want to know which starts with alphabet A and which is the last one, W or X, Y, Z, whatever. What is that alphabetical order I want to know? Then only min max we want to use that. So how do you do this? Simply min of Satark, max of Satark. If you do that, it will, because it is having text, things print min of Satark, print max okay. So what output it has given? So basically the min is starting with B, it's alphabetically ordered, okay, because they are all strings. Okay, so maybe for some tourist information it may be useful. Okay, I want to start order them alphabetically and see. Okay, but that is how min max functions will work with respect to the string based lists. So basically what we are trying to do is that we are doing whatever we have learned on these text files just to understand better, and are you able to think them to solve a problem or not. That is the whole idea of this exercise. So let us get going. So now let us worry about this data. Some districts may be having some locations specified 2-3 times, because all these problems will occur while data collection. Okay, whoever is typed the data, okay, 35 names, some 2-3 names they might have typed extra, or same time same names 2 times they have put, so duplicates may be there. So duplicates are not good for us. They don't help us in any way. So we want to really remove those duplicates. So first we want to do a little bit of analysis on how many of these lists are having duplicates. So how do we do that, and then remove those duplicates and save them without duplicate. That's what we want to do. Okay, so first thing, actually I want to check each of these boroughs. I want to check whether it has duplicates or not. So how do we do that? So think about it. So again, length function is useful. So basically, if you look at length of a set, a list, let's say Brent, let's take it. This length of Brent, if it is greater than set set of length of set of Brent. Okay, so if it is, because Brent is a list here, it holds duplicates, but here I am converting Brent into a set, so automatically a duplicate is removed. I want to first assess whether duplicates are not there or not there. So I can check the length of set of Brent. If it is greater, length of Brent is greater, means Brent has duplicates. If it doesn't have, means true, means actually duplicates are there. Otherwise, duplicates are not there. I have to just put a print here. So if I run this for all 4, then I'll get an output like this. So I'm using my comparison operator, and it will throw a Boolean whether duplicates are there or not there. Okay, have you done that? Tell me once you are ready, whether when you got all this. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We can able to hear you.
Okay. So have you got this result? So it is very simple.
Madhu,
Yeah.
Madhu, Joseph here. So whenever
tell
I
me,
type something, it is giving that Brent, Camden, those are not defined. So what I have to do, like I should not type it, only simply these statements.
No, if you have already, if your split lines and that file open and split lines has worked and you read them into these variable names, Brent, Camden, Satark, then they are available. Maybe that has not run properly yet.
Okay, yeah, it didn't run. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We are getting the correct value.
Answer. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, basically, whenever you convert a list into set, it removes duplicates. So if the lengths of sets and length of list of the same list, pre-converted set, then it will work as a, if there are more items than set, then yes, there are duplicates. It's not rocket science, but just I want you to think through these things. Okay, now we know that especially Camden, Redbridge, Satark have duplicates. So we want to remove those duplicates. So what will I do? I want to remove those duplicates and save them again. So simple, what we do is that convert it as a set. Like Camden has extra things. So I'll, okay, anyway, it has come. Camden, I'm reassigning by converting set of, actually first I'm converting list of set of Camden. First I am converting Camden to set, then duplicate is removed. I'm converting back that set into list because I want to retain the characteristics of lists for these locations so that I can manipulate. So that is what I have done here. Okay. So I'm reassigning this again to same variable name. So now Camden, after this, will have, it's a list, but it doesn't have duplicates anymore. Okay. So now all of them, 4 of the boroughs have no duplicates in their location lists. Okay. So got it? So we have done this correction now in the data. So it is a very simple way, the data cleaning activity that we have done. Okay. But we have to do many more things, but just I'm telling you that. Okay. So let's now go to our whatever we learned in dictionaries and apply that into this. So now whatever we read, 4 text files, raw data files, we read them into our Python system using with open. Then we converted them into lists. Then we did little bit of analysis of lists to understand the data is okay, correct. Then we understood some duplicates are there in the data. Then we cleaned that, and now we have 4 lists for each borough with locations. 4 lists are there without any duplicates. Now I want to use this data and put a little bit of mini database using my dictionary functionality. Okay, whatever we learned as dictionaries. Okay, so I want to put all these things into a dictionary. Again, as a dictionary, what we have to define a dictionary with key value pairs. So I want to put a column name with the district name, the borough name, and in that I want to put all the locations like a tabular form I want to put now. Okay, so create one location dictionary. Okay, you know how to create dictionary. So whatever dictionary you are creating, call that, give a variable name. So I am calling it as location underscore dict, whatever you call it. But then typically how do we write? We start with curly braces. Then usually curly braces, then you put a line there and put a key value, comma, key value, comma, key value. Let's say I have 4 districts. So I want to give a column name. I'm here doing the column name capital B, Brent, Brent is my string. Okay, colon. I want to, my value is nothing but my list. So Brent. So my key is Brent with capital B. Then values I'm passing, the list that I corrected, no duplicate list. Then I comma. Then I'll go to the second one. Let's say it is Camden. Okay. String. So I'll put this colon. Then I'll give my value as my list Camden without duplicate, that what I saved now. Then what is that? Red Bridge. Okay. This is my column name, and I'm giving value Red Bridge. Okay. Commas are important. Okay. Here the last one is Satar. Okay, and I close my braces. So this is how we define our dictionaries. So basically what we are doing, we are converting all the lists into a tabular form with a column name of the borough, and then in that I put a list of those things, whatever 13 locations or 14 locations, those things are in lists we are putting it. Okay, you have done this without any problem. Okay. Tell me when you are ready. We'll go move to the next. So basically, all this we are doing that you will get a little bit of typing and getting used to Python. Done it? Once anyone is ready, please tell me. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we are ready.
You are ready? Okay. So basically, lot of times when we create this kind of dictionaries, in fact, we will do it in our model development time. Actually, what we'll do is that to solve a regression problem, we will use at least 5-6 different algorithms. Then for each of them, we create a dictionary with whatever that model name, colon, with a lot of parameters. So lot of times, whatever keys you are typing, because these are typically descriptions. So you have to be very careful. There are no spelling mistakes. So sometimes Camden, you missed E, or you somewhere you have done capital C, but you are referencing it as small c. So typically, whenever you set up a dictionary, after that, what we will do is that we'll check whether all the keys have been properly done or not. So if there is any spelling mistake, so instead of this Camden, like D is missing in Camden, while typing fast, you have made a mistake. Then typically we use a little bit of for loop. We'll anyway learn about these for loops. Don't worry, we haven't talked about it. But typically in Python, we do this kind of loops. Okay, so basically this is how for is used. Right now, don't worry. So typically every time you do a dictionary, we check for it whether I have set up my keys properly or not. So typically what it is that does is that this is my list where I am putting my column names, again typing it correctly. Then I am telling that for each of these in the list, okay, put a variable name called borrow and loop through each of these 4 items and check for membership. So what it does is that this for borrow in this list of 4 values, first it will assign this Brent to borrow. Okay, then it comes to the second line and it will check capital BRENT whether it is in location underscore dict. So location underscore dict, when you are calling, it is basically both keys and values. Actually, you can do here like this also, location underscore dict dot keys. So whether in the keys these things are there or not there, but this way also it will work. So what it will do is that it will assign Brent to borrow in the first iteration and goes checks whether this Brent is there in my location dictionary or not. It is there. If there is a spelling mistake, it will tell false. At least we can correct it. Then it will go to second one, Camden, and it assigns the two variable called borrow, and that variable whether this Brent Camden name is there in location dict. Whether if the spellings are matching, it will tell it is true. Like that, it does that. So this is basically we use for checking whether we have set up our dictionary correctly or not. So anyway, what does it mean? By running this statement, we know that we have set up our dictionary correctly with the same correct names. There are no spelling mistakes. Anybody ran this code, typed this code and ran this code for yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are getting the
Are you
exact
getting all
answer.
true?
Yeah.
All true. Okay, fine. So that's why, so you set up your dictionary well. So now I want to I don't want to bother about lists anymore. I want to remove them. Okay, because now my new object dictionary is there with properly cleaned up lists. So I want to get rid of my lists. we don't need to get rid of them, but just to tell how it works, you can overwrite the original borrow lists with none. Okay, if you want to make a list empty, so in Python, what you have to do is that list equal to use this keyword capital N small o n e, none. This is a reserved word in Python. When you do that, the list will become empty. Okay, I want to empty all my lists because I don't want to have any confusion. Again, I don't want to use it anymore in my further building this application. So I want to get rid of this. Okay, so typically what we will do, we can use our unpacking functionality that we talked. So lists and sets can be unpacked. So what I'm doing, in a single line, all lists, Brent, Camden, Redbridge, Satark, with commas there, I am equating them to this object none, comma, none, comma, none, comma, none. 4 are there, so 4 nuns. So basically none is its own object type in Python. So it will denote emptiness of an object. If there is nothing in the object, it will be none. So remove your or make your lists empty so that there will be no confusion in whatever we do further. So this is simple. Hope you have done it. Okay, are you done? Have you done it?
Yes, Madhu.
Okay, so I'll move now. So there are no more lists now. I have a dictionary with 4 keys and again cleaned up lists and put it in a single one mini database. That is what I have done. But then to build this tourist information system, one business guy came and told, hey, actually London is made up of 2 regions, and one region is called Outer London, another region is called Inner London. And he told that Inner London actually comprises of Camden and Satark districts, and Outer London is made up of Brent and Redbridge. Okay, so that's a good information a business analyst gave, but my dictionary right now is set up with only 4 districts and their locations as list. That is how my key values have been organized in my dictionary. But then to be able to build a good information system little bit better, maybe I can organize 2 more items in my dictionary. So already I have Camden, Satark, Brent, Redbridge and their locations, but I want to organize 2 more items into my dictionary. One is called Inner London, other is called Outer London, and inner London I want to put a concatenated list that is coming out of Camden and Satark, and for Outer London I want to get the list of locations of both Brent and Redbridge. This is what I want to upgrade my dictionary before I write some logic for my tourist information system. So you have to create a new key value pair for Inner London, and you have to create a new key value pair for Outer London. Okay, so how do we do that? It is like we have already looked at, like you have location,
Union.
New name, just index new item name. So you index with, let's say, Inner London. Again, be careful with spelling so that you will stick to the same things. So you are creating a new item with column name is this. Okay, and what we want to do, actually we want to have a value coming out of location underscore dict. Inner London is made up of Camden, so Camden, the key name, because key name I gave capital C, I'm putting there, it is a string. Okay, plus location underscore dict. Okay, then what is that? Satark. Again I gave the key with capital S. So I'm putting that. Okay. And location underscore dict Camden. When I am accessing my dictionary through this key, the value stored for that key will be a list of that comprises of Camden. So that list, I'm using plus operator here. So because they are strings, they will be concatenated. So it will be a bigger list in inner London. Similarly, you can create for outer London. Okay. So here anyway, I'm showing the code here. Okay. So location underscore dict, I'm using the new item, the key value, key name, I have put it here. Then the value, I am assigning it using the existing dictionary items. Again, I'm accessing Camden's values, then Sathark's values, and I'm concatenating them, and I'm assigning it to inner London. So my new item will have a column name or a key name, inner London, capital I here, space and London, like that I wrote, whichever way you are writing, but remember that with it will have all the tourist spots that are there in Camden and Sathark. Hope you are understanding this. Not rocket science, just type it and for yourself see that. Then you can look inside the dictionary by looking into each of the print them values, the keys, values, items, all that you can do to see whether this has been set up properly or not. So did you get this?
Yes, Madhu.
Okay. So you want to, let's say, check how many values are there in, let's say, your inner London. Okay. What you will do, you will check length of location underscore dict with an index operator and inner London given in the operator. Then it will give you the length of that length of values in that key. Let us do that. You should have 32 for inner London. You should have 35 for outer London. So how do you do that? You have to just length. You have to use length of what? Your location dictionary. Okay. In the location dictionary, you want to look for the key inner London. Then it will print. If you want to print it, it will print. Okay. Then it should have 32. The same thing you have to do for outer London. Then it has to have 35. If everything is set up correctly and whatever so far you have done correctly. So you got this answer?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so we have set up our dictionary correctly. So anyway, today we have taken a raw text file to build a system. Then we read it into our Python, made into a list object. Then we did explore the data with whatever intelligence that we have. Then we found that there are duplicates. So we removed the duplicates. Then we put, because we want to build a tourist information system, one miniature database is a much better structure than having these lists. So we put everything into a dictionary, and then based on some inputs from business analyst, we combined and added 2 more items to the dictionary so that we can use this as our data set to build whatever we want to build. Okay, that's what we did. Now one more thing we have to do. Again, you would have observed whenever you are completing an exercise and your IPYNB is saved, the next day you come back, you write into a new cell, it will not get executed because by the time it would have gone out of memory. So you have to execute. Typically we go to the kernel menu item and tell that restart kernel by executing all of them. So then only it will execute. Now typically, whenever we do some work, let's say it is not your responsibility to build the logic on this data set. So you want to send it to your friend, okay, that object. So we should convert this modified dictionary object into a binary object and then send it to your friend. Then that friend can use that binary object and build whatever they want to build. So let us do that step, because in our exercise, next exercise, we will use this dictionary to build logic. But before that, I want us to save this in a proper way, because we don't want to rerun all the steps again, reading text files and do all the steps that we have done. We don't need to redo to come to this step if we save this work. So let us save this work. So in Python, there is a process, and the process to convert whatever Python objects into binary objects, we call it a serialization. And also converting a binary object back into Python object, that is unserializing, unpickling. So that process is called pickle process. So there is a process called pickling and there is a process called unpickling. Okay, it's like pickle, you are conserving, putting a lot of oil, salt, then storing it for a while. So that is how Python might have named this. But there is a library called pickle. Okay, we have to import that library and then use. Basically what we have done, we have a dictionary called location underscore dict that we have made a lot of modifications, and this object is there. Now I want to convert this object, it's a Python data structure now. Okay, I want to make it as a binary object. Okay, and store it in my file system. And next day when I come, I want to take this binary from my file and convert back into Python object and start working. That's why if you want to send to your friend, you have to pickle and send it to your friend. Then your friend will take this and unpickle it and start his work in Python again. So that is how this whole process works. Again, we have to use file IO now. I want to create, I want to pickle now. Okay, next lesson we will unpickle, but today I want to save this dictionary as a binary object into my file system. So let me pickle it. So to pickle it, first I have to open it and I have to open a new file. Okay, but I want a new file that is not existing, but I will open with a name and I will open it in a write mode, write binary mode. Then I will call it as F. Then on F, I will apply my pickle function. So pickle has two functions. So something called dump, okay, and something called load. So dump does this. Your object is converted into a binary, that is dump. Your object, your whatever binary getting back into Python structure, then use load. So let us use that and save that. So here I am doing it. So for doing that, you have to import pickle, because this functionality is there in pickle only. So any library is needed, you have to import it, otherwise it doesn't work. So import it, then you use with open for a file IO system. So you give a name, our location underscore dict, because it's a binary object, pickled object, you give it as a .pkl, and now after this instruction, a file, a new file will be opened with this name, and we are opening this file with this argument wb. I will write binary into this file. Okay, this file will be opened wherever your IPYNB files are there now, without specifying any location. You are giving the default directory wherever you are working, it will be created there. Okay, and it will be opened in a WB mode, write binary, and I am calling it as F, variable name F. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm using pickle.dump function. So two arguments I have to pass. The object that I am pickling is my location underscore dict. This is the Python data structure. I am writing this into, dumping this into F. F means actually location underscore dict dot pickle. Okay, so now a binary object would have been created in your folder structure and it is saved. Now, next time when we come, first thing we have to do is that pickle load that file and start working. You don't need to do all this, whatever data manipulation you have done, you forget it. This pickle is very important. We'll be using because even when you build models also, you will save some model objects, Python objects, and then pickle them to share it with your friends who are integrating it with some application, all that. Okay, so that is why, again, we are not going into all good things, bad things about pickle. Actually, honestly, I also don't know. I never bothered to study them. But if you bother to study, it's not rocket science also. But for our purposes, that is not that important. Only why we need it. Okay, after doing some work, we would have started somewhere, manipulated a lot of things, created a data structure and arrived at a particular point. Now we want to save that in a proper way. Then saving in binary is very good way. So Python provides this pickling and unpickling process that we did it. Okay, hope you have done this and without any problem.
Yes.
Okay, so you can search for your location underscore dict.pickle. It will be saved in your current working directory. So next time when we come, we will open it and start working. So basically, to kind of recap, we learned 4 data structures. Again, we know all the characteristics of these data structures by now, and now we are using them to build some simple application kind of thing. So I think you are able to write code. The whole idea is that I want you to practice it, feel for yourself. It is not rocket science. Just once you start typing in the way Python expects us to type code, we'll get used to that. Okay, then even some of you have faced problems, just look at it and then you will for yourself figure out. So again, I also, where is my, okay, I have done this. So again, uh, just to recap all the code, we are reading the text files in the read mode and converting them as split lines, using split lines, converting them as lists, and that list has been given, assigned a variable name called Brent. So Brent is a list now, a variable name Brent. As if for now, after this, it is a list. We can do whatever we can do with any list. So we have done that. Then we are checking whether all these are lists type or not. Yes, they are all list type objects, so I can do everything in the list. So first I wanted to see, okay, whether it has been properly formed or not. I wanted to see for Camden first 5 locations, so we use that. Then I wanted to check the lengths of all, how many tourist locations are there everywhere. So okay, I checked that. Then I wanted to use my intelligence of tourist location and a district to see whether the data is good or not. I checked it. Okay, so Peckham they missed in Brent, but Newbury Park is there. Fine. Then I also used my min max from an alphabetic order. Then I wanted to check all the locations. Again, we didn't do this, but this can be done. Let's say for everything also min max can be done. Then all locations we checked whether are there any duplicates. So we have checked lengths of lists and lengths of sets of lists. Then we found that 3 boroughs have duplicate location lists. So we removed the duplicates by converting them first sets and then converting back to lists and then assigning back to their original variable names. So now Camden, Redbridge, Satark have tourist locations, but without any duplicates. Then once we achieved this, we put all of these things into a dictionary. Okay, I created a dictionary. Then I checked whether this dictionary has been set up with correct key names and all. Yes, correct. I used other way also. Okay, so that also will give the same thing. Then just I removed all the lists because I don't want again to look back on the lists, because my data structure is going to be dictionary as I build it. So I just emptied all the lists. Okay. Then what I did, business analyst told me you can combine Camden and Satark and create a new item in dictionary called Inner London. Similarly, Brent and Redbridge as new item as Outer London. I did that. Okay. Then I checked the new lengths of each of these things, and then my dictionary is set up now for further work. So I saved it in my folder system as a binary object. This is what we have done today.
Actually,
Okay.
Murthy,
So,
like, actually, Murthy, in Inner London, we are getting 15 edge length. So,
in Inner London, you are getting
15 length, like the length of the two strings is equal to 15, right? So, how come we are getting 32?
Maybe because
So
you man, the list was cleaned.
yeah, you might have used after cleaning again the list. So basically you have to do is that you go from start, or you go to this kernel and restart and run all. Usually you have to do, because somewhere in between you change something and go back and execute, it will get the new value now. So that is what would have happened, as some other person has rightly told. So usually whenever you look at this kernel, so sometimes I want to clear all output. Okay, so I can go and run, because in between I would have inserted something and manipulated something. Then the next things previously, whatever I expected is working. But maybe to come out of all that, if you know why it is happening, you can correct it. Otherwise, just do this. Okay. Or you can also go restart and run all. So it will start from the first cell and execute everything. Then it might solve your problem also. But check that one of these lists has become none.
Sure.
Okay.
And moreover, I am not getting these files via email. Can you add my email to the email list? So,
come back again. What is that?
So I am not getting the emails from you regarding the files.
Actually, for that, I told, I'll write it again here. What I want you to do is that please write an email. Okay. You are Joga Rao?
Yeah. Jack.
Are you Joga Rao? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you write an email so that it will be easy for me. I'm writing my email there. Just madhumurthironanki@gmail.com. Okay. If you write to this, I'm adding into a list. It will be easy for me. Already now it is more than 65-70 people I'm sending every day.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Murthy.
Okay. If you get it, you save it. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So hope you enjoyed this exercise and understood also. Keep practicing. And again, if you want to know more about this file IO within Python, you can read, practice a lot, and you can look at with open also. How is it different from the standard file open, file close kind of things? Check that, and also read more about Pickle. You can go into a lot of depth also, but I am not going. So, okay. So if you don't have any further questions, hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. So learn and have fun. We'll meet again on Monday. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madhu.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.